Gets me freaking juiced up, man. Y'all ain't juiced up after watching that? Some good stuff, man. You guys open up your notebooks, okay? All right, open up to lesson 2. And this is the thing I love about watching anything first of all, I love watching any sport compete at its highest level. I love watching any performer. It doesn't matter if it's what sport it is, it doesn't matter if it's entertainment, it doesn't matter if it's art. I mean, I love watching anything at its highest level. The cool thing about that is I think that everybody in here has imagined themselves doing something great in what you're playing, right? If you haven't, then you better start dreaming a little bigger, right? Everybody in here has thought about winning the game. Everybody's thought about making the big shot. Everybody's thought about it's 3-2 count, I'm hitting the home run to win the game. Everybody's thought about making the interception at the end of the game, right? Everybody, I remember when I was a kid, I could remember, throwing the ball up and diving over my bed to catch the ball, right? I can remember the Nerf goal in my room and playing basketball versus myself, and playing a whole y'all follow me here? Have y'all done crazy stuff like that, right? We've thought about it like over and over and over. And then what happens is when we get this time in our life, sometimes those dreams fade. And we get mixed up in the world of high school, of peer pressure, of all the things going around you and what you think the expectations are. And what you've got to understand is that you're in complete control of what you've always envisioned in your mind. You're in complete control of it. All right? It's not far-fetched. Okay? Everything you saw on that screen with everybody doing something unique in that moment really came from people just being so consistent in their mindset and take control of their athletic careers, and to the point they put themselves in that position. Like, those things didn't happen just magically, right? It took hours of practice. It took failing over and over and over again and keeping on. It took lots of 1,000 decisions of giving up personal things to be the best they can be, right? It took hours of not going to this party and going to bed. It took, It took all these things just over and over and over again. And it doesn't guarantee those things will happen for you, but it does guarantee it'll give you the best chance for your dreams to come true, right? And so, like today, the thing is today is, and last week we talked about the kind of introduction to the program, what it's about. The first thing you got to understand for you to be a difference maker in this school, for you to be a difference maker in what you want to do, is that you are in control of you. That's the first thing you got to be able to do. You got to be able to take complete ownership of who you are as an athlete. You got to be able to take complete ownership of who you are as a leader in this school. All right? So in that opening page it says, you are the CEO of you. You might know what does CEO mean? You may know what CEO means? Somebody, raise your hand. Isaac, you know what CEO means?
It's like the big boss.
It's not boss baby. No, it's not that. It's not boss baby. All right. CEO. Anybody know what CEO is? They don't teach you that? Yes, ma'am. What does the letter stand for? Yes.
Chief Executive Officer.
Bam. Means you're the Chief Executive Officer. All right. Listen, executive means to execute. Means you make all the decisions. You're the chief. Okay? You're not the employee of your life. That's what you can understand here. You're not the employee of your life. Now, if you're an employee, what do? You answer to other things. Right? You answer to other things. All right? So the point of that meaning is this. A lot of us, the biggest thing we have to understand is that we end up answering, maybe not to a person, but we answer to the wrong mindset. We answer to decisions that we've seen being made in our lives over and over and over again, and we think that's the right thing to do. Let me tell you guys something. Just because something is the majority doesn't mean it's the right thing. Just because a lot of people are doing it, just because it's what you've seen for a long period of time, just whatever, that doesn't mean that's how it is. And that doesn't mean that's the right thing to happen now. That makes sense to everybody? Right? And a lot of us become employees of those things. We never fully take control of our life. All right? So the whole purpose here is this, is that you got to understand is that you are the CEO of you in everything you're doing, right? And every day you come to school, every day you're with your team, every day you're at home, every day that you're in the community, you're selling something. You're selling something, all right? You're selling who you are. Like, when you walk the hallways here, whether you want to believe it or not, you're a walking billboard for our school. It's like I'm going to have to meet with some kids this afternoon, and they said, Coach, there are 3 football players I need you to talk to. They didn't say there were 3 students, right? They said there were 3 football players, right? Every one of you is a walking advertisement. Every one of you, okay? And you're selling something every day, selling who you are. Okay, it's like I tell people when people come to our field house that everybody that comes in our field house, it's an interview. I don't care if they're a parent, I don't care if they're a college coach, I don't care if there's somebody that can give us money. Everybody that comes in our place is an interview, right? We have to sell who we are. Like if you come into our field house, football players can say it's spotless. You can eat. I wouldn't suggest eating off the floor, but you could. Okay, it's spotless. It always smells good. We always got coffee on the pot. We always got water's available. We got, you know what I mean? It's home. Everything matters. Okay, and what you need to understand is like in your life, everything matters, and you have to be willing to take control of it and get beyond the crowd. Okay, like last 2 weeks ago, Coach Williams talked to you. I talked to you about we've got to have people in this room that set out to be the revolution, right? You've got to be the difference makers. You got to be the guys that people want to be like. We've got to have new standards of who we are, and that will never start until you take control of who you are, right? Because an adult or somebody can tell you all you want, but at the end of the day, you the guys got to go do it, right? So that's the first step, all right? Now, I want you to flip to the next page, all right? Flip to the next page. And this is what I really want to talk to you about today, is that what is the process of taking control of your mindset, okay? And there are 4 steps to this, okay? The first thing you got to understand is that there's awareness, all right? So like over Thanksgiving, I came up here and I went through everybody's notebooks. I went through everybody's eval, all right? And I can tell very quickly who really took time to evaluate themselves, who is unsure of who they are, who might not be taking this as serious as they need to, right? Because there are people that didn't answer a lot of things, all right? And there are some people that answered all of it, right? So the first thing you got to understand, like, is you got to have awareness of where you are in this, all right? If this isn't for you, then after we get done here, you need to tell me, say, Coach, that group's really not for me. Okay, well, you're wasting your time in here then, right? Everything's got to matter to you. So the first thing is awareness. So like, I'm reading through your evals, okay, and I'm going to tell you this, when you're doing an eval about where you are mindset-wise, it's really the most current if you get 3 opinions, okay? You have your opinion, all right, because sometimes you think less of yourself than you should, and sometimes you think too highly of yourself than you should. That make sense? So you evaluate you have a teammate evaluate you, and you have a coach evaluate you, all right? Because a lot of times how you see yourself is not really how everybody else sees you, right? Make sense to everybody? And that's really how you get a true eval on somebody, all right? But what we're going to go on is how you see yourself, all right? So the first thing you got to think about is awareness, okay, about where you are and where you want to go, all right? Where you are and where you want to go. So I love the story in the Bible about when Moses takes the people out of Egypt. Raise your hand if you're familiar with that story, okay? A lot of you, okay? All right, so the people are slaves in Egypt under Pharaoh, all right, and Moses and they want to go out of Egypt, be delivered from slavery, and go what they call the promised land, which is Canaan, okay? Canaan is an 11-mile walk from Egypt, 11 miles, okay? It's supposed to take them 11 days to get there, all right? When they leave there, all right, all the people went out. When they leave there, they end up taking 40 years to get to Canaan. Not 11 days, they take 40 years. All right? Because once they get out in the desert, okay, they really don't know how to respond. All right? Because even though they were in captivity, even though they were in Egypt, Pharaoh still took care of their needs. They had food, they had a place to sleep, they had things that made them comfortable. Does that make sense to everybody? All right? And so they started fighting amongst themselves. All right? So emotionally, they had something that restricted them. All right? And in today's world, we all have something like that. All right? We have something that emotionally restricts our potential. We all kind of have a secret Egypt. All right? And the Egypt is the old way of life. Okay? Okay, it's when you want to be something else, and we really want to be that, and we start moving this way, but our old way of life, maybe it's our old friends, it's our own thoughts, it's how I used to do things, it keeps pulling us back. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes or no? Yes, all right? It's like, well, this is how it was here at TC in the past. This is what they used to do at City Cafe. This is what they used to do. You know what I mean? It's like, it just keeps pulling you back. It just keeps pulling you back. Instead of just keep marching forward. All right? And the faster everybody makes those decisions, right, the faster we get to what we want to be. That makes sense to everybody? And so the first thing you have to have is awareness. If you don't have awareness, your life looks like this, right? Like people without goals kind of make a lot of bad decisions because you're making decisions that don't affect anything. So if you really don't have great awareness of who you are, or you don't have somebody poured into you to be honest with you about where you are, you kind of live a blank life, all right? But what you got to understand is this, that you have a bigger thing ahead of you, right? Like everybody in here has a great potential inside of them that they want to be. Everybody in here admitted when they watched that tape, like you dreamed of yourself doing something good, right? Like I still want to be a Toys R Us kid. Like I'm 43 years old. I turned 44 in January. I'm halfway through my life. I hope I live to be 80. All right? But I still think I want to do something huge. All right? Worldwide. Okay? That's still in my head because I've been thinking, you know what I mean? Like nobody wakes up thinking they're not going to be special. Right? Am I right on that or wrong? Okay? Every one of you is born for something. All right? But the first thing you got to have is awareness. All right? So I want you to look at that sheet right there. I want you to flip back to your eval real quick. I'm going to talk about this really fast. All right? Your eval on the back page is going to be highlighted. All right? This page right here. You should be on this page right here. Yep. It should be on this page right here. All right? If you're highlighted in gold and yellow, that should be an area of your life that you really shine. All right? That should be an area of your life that you really shine, that's really noticeable to the people around you. It should be noticeable to your friends. It should be noticeable to your teammates. It should be all those things. If it's in orange, that means that's an area that, hey, that should be an area that should shine for you. All right? Which means you should light that on fire. That makes sense to everybody? If it's in green, that's an area you really need to grow up in. All right? It's an area you really need to grow in. If it's in blue, okay, that means you're kind of in deep water. All right? That's one of your weakest areas that you probably need to talk to somebody and get some advice on some help in that area. All right? Does that make sense to everybody? I guarantee you, most of you probably scored lowest in goal setting. Will I be right on that? Okay? Probably a lot of you probably scored lowest in goal setting because a lot of you at your age, you're not really thinking like that. Right? Or you're just going with the crowd. The first thing you got to have is awareness of where you're going to be. All right? So if I'm looking at this, I'm going to run through it really fast. All right? Purpose and understanding. Team standards, self-standards. All right? That basically means this, that you have a high awareness of what your team does. You have a high awareness of who you are, and you apply it every day. All right? Standard effect on personal drive. That means that what your team expects of you and what you expect of yourself affects how you act. It affects how you behave, right? If you're low in that area, that means it really doesn't, and you're just kind of operating on your own will, all right? That makes sense on that, okay? Awareness of weakness, okay, pretty self-explanatory. Either you kind of are self-aware of when you screw up, self-aware of your faults, or you're not, okay? That's a dangerous one. Seeks knowledge and accountability, which means you're not afraid to talk to your coaches, not afraid to talk to your teammates, not afraid of all those things, all right? You get nowhere in life without other people, all right? Set future goals. Do you do that? Do you think about those things? Do you write those things down? Habits of excellence. What's your daily operation, all right? That means, do you have an operation that matches your goals, all right? Do you have an effective operation, which means, what do you do when you wake up in the morning? What do you do during school? Do you think about your time after school? Do you give up things to get things? All right. Inner circle. Do you surround yourself with people on the same mission as you? Right? Do you surround yourself with people on the same mission as you? Do you surround yourself with people that really make you better? Or do you surround yourself with people that hold you back? Relationships. Value of coaches. All right. You can't get anywhere in here without your coaches. All right? The people that think they're above the authority figure are not very successful. All right? The best players I've ever coached are the most humble players I've ever coached. They're willing to accept coaching. They're willing to accept hard talks. All right? They're able to take those things and help themselves improve. All right? You've got to value your coaches. Value of teammates. Understand that you're not going to attain your goals, your team's not going to attain your goals without each other. It's not about you. A lot of times people feel like the team is there to serve them, right? I'm only a part of this team so they can help me get to my goals, not for me to help the team accomplish its. Value of personal influence. This is a big one that I hope you understand. That means you got to understand that you have influence on other people, good or bad, all right? Everybody in here is going to lead one way or the other, right? Do you really understand that? Do you understand that you have great value to other people? All right, because the more you understand that, usually the better you act. Sacrifice, self-sacrifice, servant attitude, attitude of team role, okay? Are you able to accept the role that your coach gives you with the right heart and the right spirit, understanding that's going to help your team be successful, all right? It's like I used this with our team one time on our leadership trip several years ago. I said, I want you to imagine that we've already won the state championship. You've already got the ring. We've already had a parade around town. I mean, it's unbelievable. You got state championship shirts on, but I'm going to tell you, you get all that, but you're not going to play 1 second all season. You're going to be on a scout team all year. Which would you rather have? Or I'm going to tell you, no, you're going to play, but we're not going to win. Right? Which do you want? Right? We all got to understand that what the goal of the team is. All right? And we got to be able to accept our roles with it. And the last one is performance. Okay? Attitude, effort, and team impact. Right? Team impact is, are you making a lot of impact within your team, like performance-wise on the field? Y'all follow me here? All right? So the first thing you do, you got to look at, is that where are my weak points? Okay? Weak points. Now looking at that quickly, how many of you guys think that kind of matches where you are? Yes or no? You say yes or no? Right? A lot of you? Okay. All right. Well, the first thing you have to have is an honest evaluation of those things. You got to understand that everybody has a secret Egypt that kind of holds them back. All right? Everybody got me on that? Awareness is number one. Okay? Number two is this, okay? Once you have awareness, you got to decide, am I going to react to conviction or am I going to react to compromise? One of the two. And that's always the great debate. All right? Conviction is something that keeps you connected, all right, to what your purpose is. That's what conviction is. It's that tug at your heart. All right? It's that tug at your heart when, you're trying to make a hard decision to be with this group or to not be with this group, right? It's that tug of your heart when you want to go, hey, I need to go to the gym, but I don't feel like it, right? What compromise does is this. Compromise restricts your potential, but it meets your needs. It restricts your potential, but it meets your needs, right? It's like this, like, let's say at night, let's just use a small example, like at nighttime, okay? You got a game the next day. You got a game the next day, all right? There's going to be some thing the next morning. All the other kids in school want you to get up at 4 a.m. and go to it, all right? You got a compromise in front of you. You need to be fueled and ready to go. There's no way you can compete getting up that early on a game day. There's no way. You got to compromise. You got to make a choice. Are you going to go to your conviction, that's your connection to what you really want to accomplish, or are you going to go toward your compromise? The compromise will meet your needs, because guess what? When you get there, you're going to have fun with them. You're going to do all those things. You're going to talk about during school. So emotionally, your needs are going to be met, right? But it's going to hold you back from your conviction. Your conviction doesn't always meet your needs, but it maximizes your potential. Y'all follow me here? We want to sometimes, how many guys have been in a class and your teacher grades on a curve? You know what a curve is? You ever heard of that? Man, have you heard about a curve is? What's a, Coach Beasley, what's a curve? If you grade on a curve.
It's the average.
Throw out the high, throw out the low, average the rest, and if
That's
you
right.
get below the average of the rest, you
Yeah.
get those points. If you make it higher, then
That's it.
you just
Yeah.
help the lower students.
Yeah, it's like we want to live life like when I was growing up. If you teach your grade on a curve, that's the class you wanted to be in, because you didn't have to be like you could get away with a lot of stuff, right? It's kind of like if you went to a class, you had a substitute teacher every day, right? You could get away with a lot, all right? And we want to live our lives as athletes doing both. And the first thing you got to understand is you can't have both. Like, it takes what it takes. You want to be great at something, you want to be great at what you're doing, you want to be a leader in this school, you can't live in this world and this world. It can't coexist. It can't, y'all follow me here? You can't live in constant compromise and constant conviction. It will not happen. One will win. All right? But we want to live life on a curve. Like, what's okay if I go do this? I'll still be ready to play tomorrow night, but I'm going to do this. Right? I'll be ready to go when the season comes, but I'm going to do this. Right? On the weekend, I can still go out and drink, and I'll be fine next week. I can still vape and run well. I can still do this and do that. I can still hang out. I can still, you know what I mean? It's like we think that we can do this and that and this and that. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. All these things over here may meet your needs emotionally, may make you feel accepted, may make you feel all these things, but at the end of the day, it restricts your conviction. It takes that sign, it turns it back around to blank. Now follow me here? Okay? You can't live life on a curve. All right? It doesn't work like that. Right? So I think what you have to do is you got to look at what is most important. Right? Is it what you want to do? Okay? Or are these things over here? Right? It's a constant thing of conviction versus compromise. All right? So number one, you got to be aware. That's why you took the assessment. Where do I need to grow up? Where do I need to make changes? All right? Where do I need to set goals? All right? Who do I need to hang out with? Who do I not need to hang out with? All right? Where do I need to spend more time? Like I told you last week, if all you are doing is what's in your athletic block, you are failing this school and you are failing yourself miserably. It's not enough. If you weren't in your athletic block, you'd be in math class. If you weren't in your athletic block, you'd be in course or you'd be in something else. You're not giving up anything, right? If you want to be convicted, you've got to invest. You've got to give up compromise and go toward this. All right? Now follow me here? All right, next thing is this, okay? Next part of that is this. You've got to live a life of repentance. Now, I know when you hear the word repentance, you think admitting guilt, right? Like you're going in front of the priest and you're admitting that you're wrong. That's not what repent means. All right? Repent means to turn back. That's what it means. The word repent means to turn back. All right? So to be a great, like everybody you watch on that tape, okay, they haven't lived perfect lives. They've made mistakes. They've gone down the wrong path before. They haven't done the right thing all the time. You haven't done the right thing all the time. God knows I haven't done the right thing all the time. What you do is, when you're going down the wrong path, you turn back. Right? You turn back to what you want to be. And a lot of times you turn back for a few things. One, you're aware of where you're going. That may be why you turn back. You're aware that, hey, this ain't who I am. I really want to be this. Sometimes you turn back because you have the right people around you that grab you and say, hey, man, that's not who you, come on, man. What's wrong with you today? You're not being yourself. Right? Sometimes it's, hey, man, we're not going there Friday night, man. We're going over here. Right? Sometimes you turn back because you got the right people around you. All right? Let me ask you this. On that video, like I'll use, it could be, was the camera ever on somebody without the ball? Was it? Was it? Like the baseball scenes, there wasn't, the center fielder's running and catching like this. They didn't have the camera on the right fielder. Right? When the football guy was running with the ball, were they trying to tackle anybody else besides the guy with the ball? They weren't, were they? You know why? Because people don't tackle people without the ball. People don't care about the guy that's not going after the ball. Right? That ball represents your purpose. That ball represents your potential to be a tremendous player here. That ball represents your potential to be a leader in this school. That ball represents your ability to be a different standard for people to follow. That ball represents your ability to be walking the hallway and somebody else wants to be like you. And we got to have people like that here. That's why we're doing this. You got to be the revolution, right? So you got to understand this. Nobody is going to chase you if you're not living like that. When you step out to say, hey, I'm going to be a little different, I'm going to sacrifice this for that, I'm going to follow my conviction, guess what? It's coming. It's coming. People are going to try and drag you back. People will make fun of you. Well, man, you used to always go with us over here. You used to always do this. You used to always do that, man. What's wrong with you? Right? It's coming, man. I'm telling you. I've lived it. I went to 3 high schools. I've lived it. People are going to make fun of you. People are going to question you. People are going to do whatever. All right? And I know I've taught you a lot about my daughter. Okay, my daughter's in New York. Her greatest challenge is not dancing in front of people. It's not the performance. Her greatest challenge is constantly dealing with follow her conviction when things are trying to pull her back. Right? It's hard. You make that choice, it's difficult, because now guess what? Now you got to be that. A lot of people are so scared of success. They are so scared of success. They are so scared of being different, because as soon as I try to be this, then oh God, now I've got to be this every day, or they're going to think I'm a hypocrite. As soon as I say I'm not going to do this, oh God, now everybody's looking at me. It's a lot easier to go back to Egypt. A lot easier to be like it's always been. A lot easier to do that. Right? So what you got to do is this. You got to put yourself, that's why it's important in this room that you're all hearing this. You got to have people around you that want you to do that. Right? In a football game, the guy's running the ball. Isn't it a lot easier to get to the end zone if you don't have to make everybody miss? Right? Isn't it a lot easier if everybody's running to the ball to block for them, to get them to the end zone? It's like we tell our guys, when the camera frame, we're watching film of the game, when the camera frame cuts off, if you're not in the frame, you're not a good player. Right? Like, everybody's got to be in the frame. The more people that get to the ball, the better chance we had to be successful. That's on offense or defense. Everybody's got to run to the football. right? What's like in here? Y'all got to run to the ball. Y'all got to run to the purpose, man. You got to all run to the idea of being great. You got to all run to the idea of flipping the switch, right? Y'all follow me here? Right, y'all follow me here? Get me preaching, all right? All right, so live a life of repentance. So awareness. Where am I weak? What do I need to get better at? What I got to do, right? What do I got to do? Next thing is this, is that I've got to understand there's going to be conviction and compromise that I got to deal with, because you're going to deal with it. You got to also understand this, it's not about being perfect, but it's being on track for your purpose. Not about being perfect, but it's about staying on track for your purpose, which means if you start going on that wrong path, you got to keep turning back. You got to keep turning back. You got to keep turning back. All right, y'all follow me here? You got to demand excellence out of yourself. All right? Everything matters. I told you after the beginning, everything matters. You got to demand out of yourself. All right? And then what happens is this. The more times you turn back, the more people you have around you to help you turn back, then you get to that last thing, which is a covenant. All right? Which is a covenant. You know what's a covenant? It's this. I got on a wedding ring. Okay? You know what this means? It means I am dedicated my life to my wife no matter what. Right? No matter if she makes me mad, no matter if she screws up, no matter if we go through financial trouble, no matter if our house burns down, no matter if I lose my job, no matter, you know what I mean? Like, no matter what, I've made a commitment to her. Y'all follow me here? No matter what. All right? And so what happens is the more you turn back to what you're convicted to, the greater covenant you write in your heart. Like, there's no freaking way I'm not going to accomplish what I want to accomplish. There's no freaking way I'm not going to show up not ready to play. There's no freaking way, man. You know what I mean? There's no way. I've worked too hard for this. I made too much investment in this. And you guys, y'all coming with me. You're going to be ready too. And you're going to be ready. And you're going to be ready. All right? You know what I'm saying? The more you turn back, the greater story you write for yourself. All right? And that's what happens to these guys in these videos. They've done it so much that, by gosh, when it's not going to not happen for me. Right? And so you write a covenant for you. At the end of the day, you've made up that in your heart. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to let something get in my way. I'm not going to make a decision that's going to ruin my future. I'm not going to make a decision that's going to take away my future opportunities. Right? I don't know what's going to happen this Thursday or Wednesday, but by gosh, it's going to be my best, because I won't be as prepared as I could be. And everybody else around me is going to be too. All right? Now follow me here? So first thing, you got to be aware. Second thing, you got to understand there's going to be a battle of compromise and conviction. That's going to happen. All right? You got to understand that you got to live a life of repentance, which means you got to, as soon as you go down that, you got to turn back. You got to have guys around you, girls around you. And by the time you've done it enough, you're going to have a covenant about who you are. All right? And that's what makes you different. That's when you become different. You ever gone to the store, and do you ever noticed, it's really obvious when you see somebody in the military. You know what I'm saying? Like you see somebody at the register, and not how they dress, but what makes them different? Like, they carry themselves different, they talk different, they hold the door open for you, they're respectful to the cashier, you know what I mean? Everything is different, right? Everything about them is different. All right, you're like, man, and you notice that. You notice that. Because you know what? They got a covenant about who they are. They've got an investment in who they are. All right? And you can do the exact same thing. How much time we got? 4 minutes. 4 minutes? Okay. Y'all follow me there? So that's what that is. All right? So this is what you're going to do. Today you're going to take your notebooks with you. Okay? And we're not going to meet again until after Christmas. But on this page right here, you've got right here where it talks about standards. Team standard, self-standards. Goals for yourself, athletically, academically, character-wise, how you can serve others, how you can make sacrifice, all right? And what I want you to do is I want you to think deep about it over these next several days. I want you to think deep about it over the holidays. And I don't want it to just be some fly-by-the-seat answer. But I want you to write out what's going to be your standard for yourself on your team. What do you, if you had to write a mission statement about yourself, you had to write a covenant about who you're going to be and what you're going to live for, you need to put that on that paper. And then you need to start making goals for yourself. Okay? Guys, 15 years ago, I got it's in my garage. I wrote down family goals, spiritual goals, professional goals, leisure goals, and I wrote down every single thing I could think of. I want to go to Europe. I want to see castles. I want to go to Hawaii. I want to write a book. I want to speak at clinics. I want to win a state championship. I want to win 200 games as a head coach. As many things as I could think of, right? And guess what? I've written a book. I spoke at clinics. I've been to the castles of Europe. Y'all follow me here? You've got to start thinking about what you're going to be and do it. Okay? All right? So you're going to write down goals for yourself. And so action steps is basically this. What is something I can do every single day that will help me get there? Right? So like in the academic side, let's say it was, for instance, I want to make a B in geometry. That's one of your goals. One of your habits can be simply this. Every day, if I don't understand the assignment, I'm going to stay and talk to my teacher after class. That simple. And make yourself do it. Right? You follow me here? As simple as that is. Like, if you know your issue is staying up on the tic-tac and whatever else y'all do, all right, then my goal is I'm going to be in bed by 11 o'clock. Right? Y'all follow me here? Whatever it is, okay? Y'all need to think about it. I'm telling you, when you put little steps together, it's like putting coins in a piggy bank. This adds up, adds up, adds up. Okay? Everybody got me? Appreciate you guys very much.